Cars gridded up and ready to go racing here in the FEG Big Money Monday Night Series. I'm Matt Egan, joined by Jacob Young. We're getting ready to go green in just a few moments. Jacob will bring us through the starting lineup. How you doing tonight, Jacob?
I'm doing fantastic. Was just looking at the track temperature. It's a beautiful 76 degrees Fahrenheit on the track, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and of course the air. And now, of course, for your starting lineup, it's going to be an interesting one as Michael Thwaites is your pole sitter with Kenneth McAuliffe Jr. in second position. To actually take that back, it's very confusing with the grid at the moment as 9th place and 4th place is, well, not entirely that, but Michael Thwaites looks like the one that will be actually your race leader. So very confusing at the moment. Don't entirely know who's where.
All right, well, as we get ready to go racing here, Jacob, what can we expect from the Homestead Miami? The first time, I have to say, it's actually the first time I've broadcasted under the lights here at Homestead. Something new here on ASN. I'm looking forward to it.
I am indeed. Something to expect. I guess the trucks will get very tight as the run continues on, so expect something of that nature, basically. But other than that, can't wait.
Well, here's the green flag right off the bat. We can expect more grippy racetracks, probably a little bit more passing on account of the fact that they're running at night. Trucks will grip more, cooler track temperatures. It is Marty Porter, though, out to a fantastic start. Down the backstretch they go, shuffling for position. Second place, Matthew Lee, Andrew Melvin, third. Everyone just shuffling around for the spot, looking for somewhere to go as they go through 3 and 4. Back onto the front stretch, Jake Hunchell winds up 4th in that one. Adam Baker 5th. David Santini 6th. And Santini trying to work his way past Hunchell. That will be potentially a 5th place move.
Exactly. A very impressive move there. Jake Hunchell still sits in his he sits right behind him, and well, talk about a great start. A lot of drivers already single filing out, which is going to be interesting to see if we see more moves like that in the early stages of this race.
Yeah, and you look back a few nights to when we raced at Homestead in the Xfinity cars. They were single file a lot of that race, but there was still a lot of good passing going on as they go through 3 and 4 again. Your leader still, I believe, Marty Porter, and he's leading, but not by a particularly large margin over Matthew Lee in the 04. Matthew Lee's got a pretty good race car as well as we go into lap number 4 here tonight. So being on lap number 4, what is your prediction so far?
Well, my prediction, I think a lot of these drivers that will stay the same single file, the way that they've kind of been racing, just a little bit of battling going on in the back is kind of what I expect. But other than that, for my prediction, I could even see maybe Adam Baker finally getting it to victory lane, sitting in 4th position right now and looking pretty good with the way that he's been able to save the tires throughout all the race weekend so far, and also the way that he's been able to push his race truck to close to a victory.
Yeah, and right there, Andrew Melvin is 3rd, Matthew Lee 2nd. And you can see a little further back, how about Peyton Howell running in 10th? That number 95 Hooters machine, or I'm sorry, the 19 Napa Auto Parts machine looking very good on track, very fast looking race car. As you see, the 58.6, Josh Bonwell gets in to the 95. There is a crash. Paul Munrain involved. Man, oh man, that was unexpected.
It was unexpected, but you could also kind of see it coming. I mean, the drivers were racing very well, single file, and then he just kind of got under him, and it almost went 3 wide there as Peyton was kind of getting caught, and it was going to be closer to a 3 wide battle, and sure enough, just gets tagged on his left rear quarter panel, and nothing that he could do from there.
Yeah, and right there, we'll watch that from on board. Peyton, we'll actually watch on board Paul Moraine, that 55, who was involved in that crash. Here he is coming on to the front straightaway here. And you can see, he sees the crash happen in front of him. He sees Smith get turned and nothing he can do. He tried to go high to avoid it. And of course, the 95 spun high into him. So there's really nothing Paul could have done. And it's just an unfortunate situation for that 55 truck to be in. And look at Jesse Thornock has got his engine blown out. And unfortunately, again, only 8 laps in to this 100-lap long event. And it's just, that is the last thing you want to see for any driver, as most of the field, all except for, I believe, what Marty Porter has elected to pit. So there's a bit of a development for you. Make of that what you will. Everyone except Marty Porter hits the box.
It's very interesting. 8 laps into this race, no matter if you've saved your tires or not, getting 4 fresh Goodyear tires will really help your race truck be able to not have to be as tight as possible. Basically, when you get those tires old, then it just, the truck gets tighter and tighter and tighter and very difficult to really just race with.
Yeah, of course, Marty Porter's starting on pole, so doesn't gain, doesn't lose, and at the very least, at least he's doing this early on in the night. And if there's any issue that becomes a result of this strategy decision, at least it'll show itself early on. And maybe that's why he's doing it. Maybe he wants to see, well, what can I get away with as far as tires go? Will there be that big of a fall off? And it's not a bad idea, because there's been things that have changed since since the last build with these tires. So it's probably not a bad idea for him to kind of get that, get that squared away early on in the race, instead of trying to figure this out maybe with 10 laps to go and risking it then.
I'd have to agree with you on there. Just trying not to, just basically figuring out his own strategy. If there is a strategy call later in this race for him, he probably expects more cautions too, so it's early in this race. And if the drivers keep driving the way that they are, which has been very clean, it was just, I think, a little bit of a bad luck, just an unlucky situation for all the drivers involved in it. And I expect them to continue on with the green flag run. So Marty Porter could be out of luck here with his strategy call, but hopefully, of course, in his case, 10, 15 laps later, a caution does fall.
Yeah, without a doubt, and that is a potential to occur. So right now, 10 laps in, what do you think's going to happen on this restart? I think a lot of stuff can happen, and it's just going to be a matter of what actually transpires. 42 drivers in this race, albeit only about 39 or 40 rather of them on track. Thornock, Eckenberg in the pits, and Tyler Pluff 5 laps down out of the race.
Yeah, I expect kind of the same. Especially on this restart, I think all of the drivers are really going to want to get a single filed out. And of course, from then on, you'll have to kind of push to stay with the pack. It's sometimes you can lose the pack here in these trucks just due to the fact of, well, how easy it is at nighttime to have just pace basically here. So it'll be interesting. They'll go single file for sure, but other than that, we will see a little bit of battling going on.
Well, we'll see just how it all plays out. One lap till we go back to green flag racing. Marty Porter, Mikey Bryant, and Matthew Lee, your top three. Now, of course, Bryant and Porter still on old tires. Matthew Lee on back, all on fresh rubber. So it'll, again, be an interesting development to see how it all plays out. It'll be Chevy, Toyota, your front few rows. Pace car down, green flag in the air. Looks like Bryant, well, he didn't get that great of a start, but Marty Porter certainly got the start he needed as they go down into 1 and 2. Marty Porter trying to pull away. Matthew Lee looks like he's trying to make quick work of Mikey Bryant, and does he do that down the backstretch? I think not yet. They're still side by side. Into 3 and 4 now. It is all Matthew Lee's got a little bit of a better run. He'll probably get a better run off. Bryant got way tight there, but it didn't slow him down too much. They're still neck and neck. If anything right now, Jacob, I'd say they didn't make too horrible of a call staying out.
Exactly, not too bad of a call, but like you said, they probably got a little bit more tighter than other drivers in that corner. Look at the 37 car of Andrew Melvin, though, able to maybe gain another position up from the 04 of Matthew Lee. He might be able to clear him here. Not quite just yet, but on that inside line, we'll try to gain some positions as well. 3 wide now.
Yeah, Matthew Lee not giving up the ship just yet. He is diving it in there, 3 wide, and we got one in the wall. That is Bryant. Now, I would say that was risky of Matthew Lee, because you remember the lap before that, Jacob, if you notice, he got real bad loose coming through, or not bad loose, I'm sorry, real bad tight going through 1 and 2. It actually almost made contact with Bryant, and, you know, I thought that was going to happen again. So 3 wide, probably not the best thing to do there. It all worked out good, though, in the end. Matthew Lee trying to hold on to second place as we're 14 laps into the show so far.
Exactly. Matthew Lee hanging on to second place. And that, of course, one thing that they're doing is kind of only going to hurt them with the runs, especially Matthew Lee being on that outside line. We talked about it. The more that you're kind of on that outside line, as he does dive closer to the middle, but it takes more life out of the tires. It makes the tires work a lot harder than if you were on that low line. So it looks like Andrew Melvin's going to sneak right behind the 04 car of Matthew Lee, and that's very impressive with his pace that he has even after staying out.
Yeah, I'm really surprised there, you know, that, well, Matthew Lee didn't stay out, but driver that did, Marty Porter, he's leading to the tune of about half a second, and believe it or not, that lead isn't shrinking, Jacob. It's actually getting bigger. Now it's up to about 0.8, down to about 7 now, but it was up to 8 at the start-finish line. I tell you what, I'm amazed that Porter is not losing ground.
Yeah, exactly. Very amazed of that as well, considering, like you said, the rest of the field are on fresher tires. Marty Porter being maybe the winner in this one, just being able to continue growing his lead. But at the same time, it kind of does look like it is shrinking. Sometimes you can't really tell, but it is actually, as it's less than half a second now.
Yeah, go figure. I spoke too soon. Yeah, he is shrinking that lead just a bit. Although, now he's trying to open it up again. It's grown. Well, there it goes. Got small again. It was getting big, then it got down. But yeah, Matthew Lee, Melvin Santini, and Jenkins, they've all kind of formed up. And they are chasing down Marty Porter. And I don't know how much longer Marty Porter's going to manage to hold on to that race lead. You look a little further back. Looks like Jay Felton, Hayes Booth looking to advance position. Fell into the inside, was 3 wide with Hunshell for a moment, and it didn't last. Hunshell got the better of him as Jake is in 8th place. But look at Hayes Booth down on that bottom lane. Bottom line is not the preferred line here. You want to kind of be in that middle row. You saw Hayes, he got way tight there and had to chase it up the racetrack. He lost a lot of ground on that.
Did indeed. But of course, he's in a position on the racetrack where it is very racy, just 2x2 all the way around them, basically close to 5 trucks around each other, which is always going to be very difficult. We talk about it sometimes, but in the trucks, it does make a difference. The side drafting, you're just side by side with them, and it kind of stalls each other out, and that is very difficult indeed to just kind of go by. And what I mean by that is also any ground, more like you are also losing ground too, so being side by side with somebody only kind of hurts you.
Yeah, side by side, Hayes Booth again trying to run that bottom lane, and I don't know if that's going to work. We saw how tight he got, and watch here, same thing happens. He has to chase it up the racetrack. I'm telling you, I don't think that's the ideal thing to do, because you watch, look at Peyton Howe, that Napa Auto Parts car, truck, going to be all over his back bumper, all over the back end there, and just looking right up it. Not the place you want to be. I mean, I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get a good run in, really get a lot of speed, get it to go through center, and just get it to go off. And it's just not happening. It's not going to happen for him because I don't know necessarily why, but it's just not sticking down on that very bottom right by the white lane.
Yeah, indeed, it isn't really doing that well from, and again, it's early in the run. We're just 23 laps in, so that bottom lane just hasn't come into play too much. You talk about it so much, and, well, at the start of a race, even if it is at nighttime in the trucks, that bottom lane is like ice. It's very slippery and slick. You really have to just ease into it and make sure that you get out of the throttle and back into it perfectly to really make sure that the truck is balanced completely, and that bottom lane sometimes doesn't help you too much.
Yeah, without a doubt on that one. And right now you can see some pretty good racing going on. Scott Glasson looking behind Derek Fuller. He is the 29, my bad. He's looking to Derek Fulton in the 94, looking to try and make a pass, but you notice who's fallen out of the lead? Marty Porter is fallen, excuse me, all the way back to 8th place and continues to drop. He'll be 9th. He'll be lucky to keep that top 10. But, I mean, how long have we gone since the green flag? We've gone a pretty decent amount of laps. We've gone since lap 10. So we've gone about 15 laps. So, you know, I'd say not a bad situation, not a bad thing, because that's good knowledge Marty Porter now has. And you know what? That's good knowledge the rest of the drivers has if they remembered when they went green and how long he had that lead for.
Exactly. It's very smart from both of them because he did it early. When we talked about it too, that could be a strategy that you play. Of course, a 100-lap race, sometimes we could see drivers basically go all the way through. So that'll be interesting if we don't see another caution. And the next flag that we do see is the checker. Then when will these drivers decide to pit for a green flag pit stop, especially Marty Porter, now that he has 10 laps, at least older tires than everybody else does on their trucks. So that's going to play a big factor into it if we do stay green, because he'll probably decide to pit closer to 60 to go or something like that.
Yeah, that is for sure. Now, one big disadvantage, and you just touched on it, with the fact that if they stay green, Marty Porter has not yet pitted. You know what that means, Jacob? Aside from tires? Take a guess.
It's fuel as well.
Bingo. That's the big issue now, is he's running on the fuel he started the race with. Everyone else is not. They pitted on round, lap 8 when the caution came out. So that's going to be the big issue for Marty Porter now, is he's going to have to pit a lot sooner than the rest of these other trucks will, if we don't have a caution. And that might be his own undoing right there, as he continues to fall back, now around 15th place, right at 13th actually.
Watch a nice pass from Ricky Howell Jr. able to make that pass to the 21 of Marty Porter. So yeah, touching back on him, he loses another position and is being chased down by the 28 truck of Hayes Booth, who we've talked about a lot too. Hayes Booth started in 25th position, already has gained close to 10 spots. So very impressive here, as he'll have to will try and navigate his way around the 21 truck. And again, in that top 5, Adam Baker, Andrew Melvin, John Jenkins, and David Santini, as well as Matthew Lee. You talk about a fantastic top 5 right there.
Yeah, Matthew Lee, winner at ISM Phoenix Raceway. Well, now it is Phoenix Raceway again. You know, he won that race. He came, I think, pretty, and yellow flags in the air. It is going to be Michael Thwatz, the number 12, has gone around by way of the 16, Stephen McGaffey. So Stephen looks for the pass here. Michael comes down kind of like he probably thought he was clear, and, well, I hate to say it, but he wasn't. And that was the end of that, as they say. So Matthew Lee now your race leader, and like we touched on it with Marty Porter, he's probably breathing a big sigh of relief knowing that he is not going to be off cycle with this pit stop now. And that's probably about the best thing for him right now, is everyone's going to hit the pits. Now, the difference with this truck series, so what we saw on Sunday night, or really Saturday night, I should say, in FEG, or not FEG, in Sim 500 rather, was that Sim 500 you could kind of pick if you wanted to use the access road. Here tonight, you have to use the access road going in and coming off the pit road. That is a league enforced rule. So you know really quickly what drivers are pitting and what drivers aren't.
Thought I saw the full field going to pit lane. I don't believe I see anybody not heading down pit road. So that's a big thing right there that we touched on too. That everybody coming down pit lane, best thing that could happen to the 21 truck of Marty Porter. Now he almost kind of not only was hoping for it, but almost expected it too, because that's a perfect time for him to come in, go back out, and probably still be close to the top 10.
Yeah, that is for sure. Your race leader remains Matthew T. Lee. At the moment, David Santini running second. We will take a quick break. Actually, no, we won't. You know what we're going to do? We're going to dial up one of these drivers. We're going to try and get Marty Porter. I'd love to talk to him right about now, if we can find him. I know he's in here somewhere. He always is. Ah, there he is. Team 13. Marty Porter, have you got a copy on us? You have a copy? And unfortunately, potentially no word from Marty Porter there, but maybe later tonight we'll get a chance to talk to him. Matthew Lee, though, of course, still your race leader. Well, what do you predict out of Matthew Lee here?
Matthew Lee Well, I mean, he's already shown us that he can really lead and dictate the race. He's had pace, especially on fresh tires, so this will help him tremendously on the restart here with 4 fresh Goodyear tires and a full tank of Sunoco fuel. Probably the only pit stop for at least fuel that he will need. So I expect good things and probably a great restart, and maybe, of course, taking the lead close to a second.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see, too, if Marty Porter, who unfortunately going to be around 14th place, unfortunate for him, I should say, it'll be interesting to see if he can work his way back through the field. I imagine he'll be able to as we get close to halfway in this race. They'll double him up. I'll let you get the green this time here.
All right, sounds great. Of course, like he said, doubling them up, Matthew Lee will be the one to take them back to the green with David Santini on his outside line. So that's going to be very interesting to see both those drivers battling it out for this race win at the moment. Of course, anything can change. But like I said, both have been very impressive for these well, for this series so far. Matthew Lee still trying to get, as well as I remember back in Auto Club having some bad luck there at the end of the race with running out of fuel. But that also came to a fuel run. Will this end up being the same deal? We'll see if we can go all the way green here. That will probably be a case. Pace car in, and we're back racing here at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Yeah, good start for Matthew Lee, and you mentioned he had fuel issues at Auto Club. Well, he still managed to finish second in that race, 12th last week in Atlanta. So it'll be interesting to see what he makes of the finish here tonight. And he's led for 16 laps. He led a grand total of 0 laps last week. So he's adding to his laps led. He's doing pretty good in that regard. 141 laps this season, and he just keeps adding to that pile. And of course, that's what you want to do as a driver. You don't want to go, well, you can't really go backwards in that regard, but you don't want to not lead laps, you know?
Exactly. You don't really want to lead laps, but the main thing is leading that final lap at any racetrack, of course, means that you are the race winner. So that's what he's got to think about doing. Of course, also just basically pulling away from them, which has been very difficult, as we've seen throughout, of course, the weekends that we've seen from the Sim 500 League on Saturday, where just the drafting was very important at this racetrack as well, where you just couldn't really get separated too much from your partner in front of you. At least if you got to run, hopefully you'd be able to clear them in one shot. If not, side drafting, and then the other person behind you would have an opportunity to pass both.
Yeah, that is for sure. And, you know, we saw Marty Porter. He got to about, a half a second lead. We're not seeing that happen right now. John Jenkins, that number 7 truck, is staying right to the back bumper of Matthew Lee. He wants that race lead. I tell you what, I think he might just have something for him. And I don't think we've seen that 7 truck actually lead this season. We'll take a look here. I really don't think he has. And no, he actually hasn't led about 30 laps. He led at Phoenix. But, I mean, he's pretty fast. He finished 16th in Atlanta, started 6th. So he likes these 1.5 mile racetracks. Maybe tonight might be a good night for him.
It could be a great night for him indeed. Just will have to make sure of not getting involved in anything. Not having really damage on your race truck would be key, because sometimes if you do get into the wall on your right side, it just gets the truck even tighter. And yes, it will slow the truck down a little bit more, but it's very difficult when you have that type of damage, just because right side heavy in a sense, and that's not what you really want to do.
Yeah, right now 42 laps into this race at the stripe. John Jenkins will go on board with him as he looks like he's getting ready to potentially set up a pass on Matthew Lee. And you see Lee pulls away a little bit down the front stretch. Looks like Lee's a little bit better on corner exit. What would you say?
I mean, a little bit, but other than that, in corner exit, that's the most important place besides the entry, making sure that you don't lose a truck there, because sometimes in every single NASCAR Cup Series car or truck, no matter what it is, out the corner exit of turn 4 and even turn 2, sometimes if you're not careful, you can lose a rear end.
Yeah, that is very true. Truck can step out on you, especially with aerodynamic forces at work, depending on how you get the air off the back end of the guy in front of you, or you get the air taken off of you if you are the guy in front. So it's all, excuse me, it's all a matter of just aerodynamics. Plays a big part in it, and you don't think about it in these trucks, because when you look at these trucks, they look a little bit like wedges, or bricks rather, but they are aerodynamic to an extent. Maybe not like the Cup car, but you know.
Exactly. It's what makes these trucks very fun to drive. It's what's made it one of the most popular, I think, series on iRacing too. If I am not mistaken, when I join a C-Class race on Oval, it seems like it's just for an hour race, it's over like 100 drivers, which is very crazy, besides, of course, the regular NIS series fixed races that have over 400 sometimes. But like I said, it's a very popular series, and it's very fun to drive. It looks like a brick, but drives totally different.
Yeah, that is for sure. And right now, 45 laps into this race, Matthew Lee still holding on to it, but not by much. John Jenkins is there, and a little bit more there than he was earlier. But we'll take a little bit of a step back. Look here. Look at, David Lindahl, the 88, trying to hold off Chad Ross. And Chad Ross is coming for that 88 UPS machine. James Roth in the 44 to the inside of Jay Felton. And I tell you what, I think he's getting the spot. And looks like he did. So Jay Felton starting to fall back. You think to just wore off the tires early? What do you think for the 11? He's right around 25th place right now.
I think it's a little bit of that, and also sometimes there's 2 cycles to these race trucks and the tires. Sometimes it feels like they're starting to fall off, so you'll just back off and not really push too hard afterwards. And after some of the other drivers have that same type of fall off, then you start to push right back and have an opportunity to gain some more position. So you have to be very careful on those tires. And I think early on he just he wasn't too careful, and so that's why you were seeing this fall off right now.
And right there you see he's continuing to fall back down to 29th place. So that is not good for that Hooters team. He's probably open for a caution. Josh Bonwell was up at the front of the field earlier tonight, now back in 25th place. He's got a lot of rear end damage right now. So I don't think we're going to see Bonwell up back towards the front of the field like 10th place again. But maybe a top 15 finish if he's lucky. What do you think?
If he's lucky, probably a top 15 finish, but it's going to be very difficult for him to gain as many positions and try and get to a top 10. Just he's a little too far back at the moment. We'll have to have some good luck come his way, which means a couple of cautions. But like I said before, these drivers are spreading out a little too much for that to be a case if it were to happen.
Right now, 50 laps in. Next time by is the halfway marker. And you look, Scott Glaslow battle for about 10th place. Derek Fulton trying to take it in that 94 truck. And that's going to be the question. Do you think Fulton has what it takes? I'm going to say I think he does, because you see Glasgow is stuck all the way up towards the really high middle line, and there he goes. Derek Fulton gets it. That middle line can work, but not right now. We're still too early on in the race, I think. So right there, you can see Peyton Howell now trying to capitalize on that and get 10th place away from Scott. Do you think he's going to get it here, Jacob?
I think it's going to be a couple more laps till he gets that 10th position, just because, like I've stated before, side by side and just trying to battle it out, it becomes very difficult as they go 3 wide here, so maybe he'll be able to actually get it.
Marty Porter trying to get back into the top 10 after his pit strategy difference. This will be big here if Porter can get it. Porter trying, he's down on the bottom, side by side, neck and neck. Marty Porter, he dove it in pretty deep. It's not going to stick though. You see he got a little bit tight there, had to slow up. But I stand corrected, it does stick. And he does get 10th place. Doesn't quite clear Peyton yet, but I think that'll come in this corner.
Exactly. Peyton has to go on the outside. So, yes, he will settle for 11th position. A fantastic job by Marty Porter there to get himself back in the top 10 and to really make that move stick on that front stretch, because he really had to dig deep and try that 3 wide. And I know that, I believe it was Scott Lazo, or either way, the 29 truck, I think, decided, you know what, I want no part of that, so backed off.
And you can see Marty Porter there now starting to work his way up. Hayes Booth, we've talked about him a good bit tonight, now trying to work the outside line. You know, we've seen him work some interesting lines. We saw him go all the way down to the bottom. We saw him now we see him trying to run all the way up to the top. He sticks to the middle there to get by Scott. But I got to give credit to Hayes for kind of going all around, trying to find what the best place to be on this racetrack is. I feel like you do that as a driver, you might not necessarily get to the front the quickest, but you'll get there eventually. As he now also looks to get by, I think that's a lap car at the moment that he just passed, but he's trying to get to Peyton Howell, and you think he'll get that spot as well?
Very possible. I mean, Peyton Howell's been very good on long runs as well. Yes, he did lose 1 position to Marty Porter, but I think in a couple of laps we'll see where both drivers' tires are.
Yeah, you saw there, John Jenkins for a moment had a go at the race lead. Didn't quite make it happen. We're under 50 laps to go here, Jacob. What would your strategy as a driver be right now?
Well, if you're, of course, below the top 10, I'd say you're trying to push. You're trying to push to get there. But the only problem is you have to have that mix between pushing and saving to really make anything work. It's the same way with kind of up front, but of course I think you're saving more than pushing the truck, unless of course it looks like you're John Jenkins, because he's trying to fight for this race lead, but still plenty of racing to go. Yes, we're under 50 to go, but remember, that's still so many more laps on your tires that you have to kind of allow them to still settle in and have plenty of percentage left on your tires to not really have a chance of popping it at the end of the race.
And right, yeah, that is a big point there. We saw it happen again. We go back to the Xfinity cars, I believe it was, all the way back at Las Vegas. It was, I mean, what, 4 different drivers at the end of the race wound up losing their tires? Out of anything, that's probably about the last thing that you would want to see happen for these guys, and last thing these drivers want to see happen to themselves. And right there, 59 laps in, we got drivers coming out of pit road. We got drivers starting to starting to pit. Well, Jacob, here's the question. Do you short pit? Do you long pit? What do you do?
Well, I think you'll see some drivers decide to short pit, and that might be to gain some position. But I think if you're in the top half of the field, like I said before, the top 10, take 4.
Well,
but the only difference is you have to undercut your driver in front of you, because you're going to be able to go ahead and get that position.
Yeah, without a doubt. And right now, Matthew Lee, your race leader. John Jenkins, Santini, Baker, Howell, Hunshell, Melvin, Fulton, Porter, and Todd Keene all in the top 10. We'll be right back. Going to play a quick FEG PC commercial.
Looking for a new PC or an upgrade to your current one? Look no further than Ford Entertainment Group, your home for the best quality and value in new, pre-built, and custom PCs at the lowest price guaranteed. We have affordable PC solutions for any budget, with custom builds starting at $595. Even the pros turn to Ford Entertainment Group to get them up and running. With valued customers from all over the world, it's easy to see why Ford Entertainment Group is the most trusted brand in custom PCs.
I wanted to save my awesome subscribers the most money when they started their sim racing journey. I searched high and low for the best deals. And I'm so proud that Jeffrey and I have partnered up so I can spread the good news about where to get the lowest price on a high-quality computer.
Feel confident when buying from us with the FEG Satisfaction Guarantee. Get yourself on track today by visiting us online at FEGPC.net.
I tell you what, if you're in the market for a new PC or a new sim rig, FEG PC has you covered. No question about it. Best prices, best computers, and they can all be found at FEG PC. Marty Porter is working his way up through the field, has been trying to work his way up through the field. He's up to 4th now. And the question is, Jacob, do you think he has a chance to potentially win this race?
Oh, very much has a chance to win this race. He tested out his strategy early, decided to switch it up, got lucky with the caution, which really saved kind of his race, and he's up here in this top 10. And we've seen he has pace, even with worn out tires. So there's a good opportunity that, yes, he does have a chance to win this race. It might be low at the moment, but if he starts to gain positions by doing it, the correct way, which is after all the pit stops, then for sure his percent of winning this race or having a chance to win this race will go up.
And right now, you can see drivers pacing down pit lane as pit stops are beginning. And it looks like Marty Porter has hit the pits. Matthew Lee electing to stay out. Now these drivers can go about 29, 30 laps. That's about 4 laps out of the window at the moment. You think that they may be able to stretch an extra 4 laps, or what do you think?
It's possible that they could stretch 4 laps, but that takes with going very easy on the race truck at the start of these runs. because that's when you can also save, because you're trying to save your tires and also save fuel at that same time, so it kind of works together for you. But that's a tough ask because it is 4 laps, but I've been able to do it before, even of course it was a Charlotte Roval on the Cup cars, so I think since they kind of have that same fuel window, I think it's very possible to do that.
Yeah, right now, Chris Robertson, he was leading, now hits the pits. Adam Baker will inherit the race lead at the moment. So with Baker in the lead, if Baker gets around to actually leading a lap, how long do you anticipate him staying out? Because if he stays out 3 laps, he'll be within the window, or within the window we've been provided.
It's very possible, and it could play into his hands. But of course, it's everybody that's already come down pit lane, which is very interesting to see that a lot of drivers have done exactly that. They have a more likely opportunity to run out of fuel. We've seen it before in this league as well, that they do like to stretch it with fuel, so it will be close, but I think the drivers who decide to elect to kind of pit now will actually be able to really make it.
And right now it is Andrew Melvin up to second, and again, 30 laps to go. That again, the window we've been given to expect. So I think any of the drivers staying out right now, I think have the best luck to make it. And when I say that, I mean to make it without having to pit again. And there you go, 30 laps to go here. So take it as you will. I think now we'll see a lot more drivers hit the pits that haven't previously pitted. And now, 71 laps in, do you think we see another caution? That's going to be a pretty good question there.
I mean, it's tough to say, but normally when pit stops do happen like this, on green flag pit stops, we do see a caution flag. It could happen soon. If not, well, then I really don't expect it. I mean, personally, I won't expect another caution, but it's very possible that that could happen. And if it does, it'll probably happen in the next 3 laps or so.
And right there, 73 in, and I think you're right about that. I think that if we have a caution, it'll happen relatively soon in the race. And you can see it is pretty close racing. John Jenkins, Derek Fulton, and Matthew Lee. Now, Jenkins was able to get by Matthew Lee. Do you think that lasts? I don't think it does. I think Lee's going to get a little bit of a better run on that middle line, and it looks like he is right now. It looks like Matthew Lee up on the middle. They are going to be neck and neck coming to the start-finish line, and Matthew Lee gets the spot. That is for 6th place.
Very impressive battle going on here. Like you said, battle for 6th position. Matthew Lee on that outside line. He does not have the preferred line, but of course does have it going into the corner. Might be stopped by the 94 car of Derek Fulton, but it looks like it was a bad entrance to John Jenkins there, and he'll lose some time and maybe even lose another position to the 21 truck of Marty Porter, as Porter was able to get a run there off that turn.
Yeah, Porter's got a lot of speed right now, and as we're closing in on 20 laps to go, I expect him to use just near all of it, as Marty Porter looking for the spot on John Jenkins, but he's got to get to the back bumper as Jenkins goes for the spot on Derek Fulton. Now he's going to go all the way to the bottom of the racetrack, and it looks like it might actually work, but I think Fulton gets a better run off, and he does. So right there, John Jenkins now going to have a little bit more work cut out for him. He's going to have to dive it in low. Got one truck in the wall. Everyone scatters to miss him. That truck is a lap down. That is Toby Eckenberg. He is actually 50 laps down, back out on the racetrack, but he's got a lot of damage now on that truck, and I think that might have well have been the thing that puts him at the end of the race. That might have ended his night. What do you think?
Very possible, just trying to be nice and get out of the way, and sometimes, of course, also just hitting the wall. Everybody having to scatter means checking up, and luckily, no caution. Everybody able to evade that almost wreck there, and always stay green. Shows you the talent of these drivers here tonight.
And Eckenberg, it looks like he's getting, might be getting repairs done to the truck, but, excuse me, I don't anticipate him probably coming back out on track. Jesse Thornock back out on track after his incident. You remember that, Jacob? The first caution of the night, he blew out the motor, and now he is, 49 laps down, but hey, he's back out on the racetrack. You got to give him credit for at least coming back out on track.
Indeed, very well, because, well, again, give credit where credit is due. What I mean by that is trying to finish up this race. It's trying to finish it with dignity, but of course, sometimes if you try and do that, it's also putting other drivers' nights at a risk if you're, of course, multiple laps down. So there's a little bit of yin and yang to it as well, a little bit of good and a little bit of bad, if you decide to do exactly that.
And right there, you can see he's getting passed by the 33, or the 23, Kenyon Church, or Kenyon, yeah, Kenyon Church, I'm sorry there. But at any rate, it is some pretty good racing for other positions. Everyone kind of looking to make a pass. Marty Porter getting around the lap down machine of the 16 car. That is, of course, Steve McGaffey. He's 2 laps down now, but still got a little bit of speed in that race car, I gotta say. Looked like there's still some speed. Eli Warren back there in 20th. Scott Glaslow racing around David Santini. I don't know what happened to Santini, but he is a lap down. Perhaps he just pitted. Did you catch what happened to him?
I believe Santini just pitted a little bit too late. If I also had to guess, didn't necessarily catch the full story, but that's what I would have to guess. Is Santini is just behind Aaron Smith the second there, so probably exactly what happened, but some bad luck as he did start 8th position, now down in 32nd position.
And right there, 19 laps to go. We are officially at the end of this race. Ricky Howell Jr., there's a name that hasn't popped up a lot tonight. You know, he started. Guess where he started, Jacob, without looking? Where do you think?
Repeat the name real quick.
Ricky Howell, current race leader.
Ricky Howell, yeah.
Who unfortunately has to hit the pits.
Hit the pits, but I believe he started in the top 30.
Yeah, 39th he started in and was able to lead for a few laps. So hats off to him. I know he's got a pit now, won't be able to make it till the end on fuel, but still credit to him for being able to work his way from nearly dead last to the race lead. That's impressive.
Exactly, very impressive indeed. And guess what? He'll most likely come out of pit lane, and sure, he'll probably be in the 30s, but he's got an opportunity if a caution does come out to gain spots all the way back up to maybe even the top 20.
Yeah, you see Andrew Melvin. Melvin has to hit the pits. Derek Fulton, 2nd place.
also, like we talked about too, these are drivers who, well, they stayed out long enough to hit the pits perfectly so that they have enough to make it. Yes, it is a lot later into this race, but we're still wondering if Matthew Lee is going to be able to make it, or those drivers that pitted a little too soon will be able to make it.
Yeah, that's going to be my question, because a lot of these drivers, really the front runners right now, they pitted with, like I said, about 34 laps to go. And that, I think, might be their undoing. And that might be their problem. With 14 laps to go, you can never be too careful. I think the drivers that pitted with around 30 laps to go probably made the better call. What do you think?
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. Just being able to either barely make it on fuel or really just have to only save for one lap. It's a perfect opportunity. You don't have to worry about it too much, and that's exactly what you want to do.
14-13 at the stripe. It is Matthew Lee leading the way. Todd Keene losing ground to last week's winner. That's Chad Ross. So, real quick, let's talk about caution flags here tonight. We've only had the 2, and only for 8 laps, if you can believe that. So we've been green for the majority of this race, which is absolutely incredible, I think.
Oh, most definitely. When you can get only about 2 cautions a race, or even 0 or 1, or just, a very low number is what I'm trying to say here. It's amazing, because it shows you the talent of these drivers and how hard they can race each other with knowing basically the limit. That's the key, is they know the limit of how hard they can race a driver before they will lose the truck or lose the plot of the race, where they'll end up wrecking somebody or wrecking out themselves. So very impressive from each driver.
So right now, 11 laps to go in this race. Scott Glaslow, 11 at the stripe. Glaslow looks to make the pass on Todd Keene. That's going to be a hard pass to make. I think Todd Keene's got some speed left over in that truck, but the 29 might just be a little bit faster, as he's got help from Peyton Howell. Peyton Howell doesn't help for long. Touches the apron, but he might get the spot. So good run by Peyton Howell, but Peyton Howell not on the lead lap, unfortunately, as he's a lap down after pitting. Looks like some of these drivers who pitted really early, looks like they're having to pit now, but the yellow flag flies. Josh Bonwell spins out from the 34th position. He spun out coming out of pit lane. Yeah, he lost control of that truck coming out of the pits. It brought out the yellow. So as they say, this changes everything. Matthew Lee, your race leader. We'll be right back.
Looking for a new PC or an upgrade to your current one? Look no further than Ford Entertainment Group, your home for the best quality and value in new, pre-built, and custom PCs at the lowest price guaranteed. We have affordable PC solutions for any budget, with custom builds starting at $599. Looking for a new PC or an upgrade to your current one? Look no further than Ford Entertainment Group, your home for the best quality and value in new, pre-built, and custom PCs at the lowest price guaranteed. We have affordable PC solutions for any budget, with custom builds starting at $595. Even the pros turn to Ford Entertainment Group to get them up and running. With valued customers from all over the world, it's easy to see why Ford Entertainment Group is the most trusted brand in custom PCs.
I wanted to save my awesome subscribers the most money when they started their sim racing journey. I searched high and low for the best deals. And I'm so proud that Jeffrey and I have partnered up so I can spread the good news about where to get the lowest price on a high quality computer.
Feel confident when buying from us with the FEG Satisfaction Guarantee. Get yourself on track today by visiting us online at FEGPC.net.
So right now, as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, Jacob Young will call the green. 5 laps to go when we go green.
A bit of a shootout here at Homestead Miami Speedway. 5 laps to go. Benjamin, the green, with Matthew Lee on his outside. Matthew Lee has been fantastic throughout this race. Even in 3rd place on the low line will be Marty Porter and Jake Hunchell on the outside in 4th position. So very impressive. 2 rows right there as the pace car is in. We're back racing here at Homestead Miami Speedway. What a perfect restart from Benjamin.
And only 5 laps to go here. And it is not a lot of racing left as Matthew Lee tries to get the race lead now. And we got one truck spinning through the grass. That's the 23. And there's the yellow flag. I was about to say no caution. Carrying Church. He had a major issue. Looks like he got loose, overcorrected it through the grass. He did lock it down. It just kind of came back up. So that'll be a green-white checker finish. We'll be right back. Well, it may be the final green flag of the evening. Jacob Young gonna call it.
Cannot wait here. It's going to be interesting. Now, the lead has switched. Matthew Lee leads us to green with Benjamin Cole on the outside. Derek Fulton in third place, so he'll be on his inside. We'll see if this 3-horse battle or even 4-horse battle can be the key as they're back racing, spinning the tires.
Oh,
with the 21
Marty Porter will do it all over again. You know what they say, once is never enough. And oh man, Peyton Howell, Melvin, Baker, Felton. Count the drivers not involved, it might be a little bit easier. I think Jeffrey Smith, the 18 as well, has gotten involved. Let's get an instant replay. I think Porter just spun his tires.
Yeah, that's definitely what happened. He just spun his tires completely, and that's normally what can happen on restarts like that, especially it's the way you think you're all good in second gear, and then all of a sudden the tires get cold and you spin them.
Brad Bothwell got through it.
Everybody's happened to me.
Jay Dargent, well, he didn't get through it. He almost did. David Lindahl in the 88, I think he might have gotten clear of it. 44 got tagged. Steve McGaffey, Jim Westerfield. Josh Bonwell, did he get through it? I think he may have. Yes, he did. Melvin got slammed. Jesse Thornock, he got through it. Again, 50 laps down. So, at this point, easy to count the trucks not involved. You see Peyton Howell limping it with a blown engine. We'll be, once again, right back. Back live as we get ready to go racing. Jacob Young will call the final restart of the evening.
Wait on that one once again. Matthew Lee to lead us to the green flag for the second time tonight. Well, for the second time in this green-white checkered start. And he'll be on the inside. Derek Fulton will be on the outside. In the third place, Jake Hunchell in fourth place, and Chad Ross rounding out those two rows because those are one of the most important roles. And there we go. Green flag back in the air here at Homestead Miami Speedway. And what a restart it has been for Matthew Lee.
Yeah, great restart there for Matthew Lee. They got to get through 2 laps. Look at the 0-2. Jake Hunchell having a go at it. And Jake Hunchell having a go at the spot. He is second place. Derek Fulton gets tagged. He got put way up the racetrack. Final lap of the race now. Presented by Over the Top Designs. So good run by Jake Hunchell. It might not be enough, though, to win this race. I think Matthew Lee might just have it.
Exactly. It doesn't help that he's being battled by John Jenkins. John Jenkins on the inside line. He gets a good push. Gets him a little loose. But that sends none other than the 0-2 truck up the racetrack. And congratulations,
3 wide
Matthew
for
Lee.
second. They crash, but it doesn't affect the finishing order. Derek Fulton with third place. We got to get another look at that, Jacob. I tell you what.
That was an epic end to the race.
Here it is for third. Jake Hunchell, he wanted it. Didn't quite get it. I tell you what, though.
I knew it was going to be a battle when the 94 truck of Derek Fulton was able to push the 7 basically to second place, or John Jenkins to be exact, to second place. And right there, it was history. And going 3 wide on the final lap, just exactly what you want in a race.
Yeah, well, and you have the race results rolling across the top of your screen. I mean, you know, Matthew Lee just got a great restart, exactly what he needed to win this race. But what a race for second, third, fourth place. That was just incredible to watch. I don't think I've seen a race like that for that position in a long while. But nonetheless, a great finish for those drivers. And great race all around. Only about 4 cautions. We'll get an interview in with drivers Matthew Lee and everyone. We'll hop down to the general room, Jacob, and we'll get a word in with them. So, Matthew Lee, have you got a copy on us?
Gotcha, guys.
All right, well, good job on the race win. I tell you what, that was a phenomenal final restart. Exactly what you needed. Were you worried at all about not winning this race?
Yeah, definitely a couple times, especially when we got that caution there after the green flag run. I had just enough fuel to make it, so a little stressed out there for a minute, but, good.
Now, how did that truck handle for you here tonight?
It was awesome. That thing was on a rail all night. John was pressuring me there in the middle of the race, and I was really trying to take care of the tires real well, hoping for that long green flag run, and I just saved enough to pull away from those guys before the pit stop, and literally ran out of gas coming to pit road. So it's stretching it pretty.
All right, well, anyone you want to thank, sponsors, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I got to thank Jeff over at FEG PC for putting this on. Does a great job. You guys for broadcasting. It's awesome.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, man. Great job on the race win. And now Jacob Young with second place finisher.
Hey, well, John Jenkins, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing pretty great after that. Into the race for sure. Take us through, I guess, that last lap, because talk about having to do another restart right after the first green, white, and checkered. Take us through that.
At that point, I just wanted to finish. Apologize to Derek there. I didn't mean to get into him going into the corner there, and tried to repay the favor, and I got into the O2 and kind of ruined his podium. It's never anything I want to do at all. But that long green flag run was nice. I knew Matt was pretty much had me covered. He ran a great race altogether.
All right, how's that truck feeling through that long run?
Like, I don't know, it was a little looser start. Cold tires, it was, if you pushed it too hard, it would just go right to the fence. So you just kind of had to take care of it. And then the middle part was kind of neutral, and then the very end of it was super tight. So just kind of had to play the throttle a little bit, get it to rotate.
All right, so of course, momentum you get on the podium. Will this sort of help you for Texas or heading into Texas next week?
I mean, Texas should be pretty cool. I think we're going to use the new layout, so probably do a little bit of testing this week in officials or something. Get used to it. I haven't ran it much.
All right. Anybody that you like to thank, sponsors, that sort of thing?
Oh yeah, the guys at Momentum Sim Racing, really good group of guys. Shout out Super Clean. They I messaged them and they come on board just to use their logos and stuff. So it's a pretty cool deal. And you guys for the broadcast. I have to go back and watch.
All right. Well, congratulations on in place, and hopefully we get to talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
All right, Derek Fulton, do you have a copy on me, my man?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Probably one of the most incredible battles for third place I have ever seen. How's that finish feel?
It's good to get up on the podium. I had a really rough start to the season, so it's good to be up there with the guys. John and me got into it a little bit on the last lap, and I think we settled it. I just kind of feel bad a little bit for Jake because I did kind of lose him out on the podium position. So me and John kind of still got what we were going for, but we got everything settled out, got into each other a little bit. It was a good, fun race, honestly. So excited for next week.
Now, how did that car handle for you here tonight, and what were you expecting coming into the race?
The car handled fine. I actually had some major issues with my wheel sinking when I was first practicing, so I was worried about even qualifying on time, and then luckily got everything figured out right last minute. So everything kind of just came together, had a good cycle through the green flag pit stop there, and that pretty much put me in the position where I was.
All right, well, anyone you want to thank, sponsors, that kind of thing?
Yeah, thank you guys for doing a great job. Thank Jeff for putting on this great league. Haven't had this much fun racing on iRacing in a long time, so it's been a good time.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us, man. Great job on the finish, and for everyone else that watched tonight, hope everyone enjoyed tonight's broadcast. We'll see y'all next week.